I'm Rodger Baker. I'm joined here today by Tack, and we're going to discuss a little bit about a recent study that we've been working on looking at options for dealing with the development of the North Korean nuclear program. So Sim, as we got into looking at this, what are some of the driving reasons why we're looking at these options at this moment?
So the point is that North Korea right now is reaching kind of the big decision moment where they are getting to the last stages of development of an actual feasible nuclear weapon, both in terms of having a functional nuclear device, but also being able to mount it on a missile and having a missile that can actually reach its intended targets. So as they are getting closer to the point of combining all of those elements, they are speeding up their program. And then there's, of course, some political situations in the United States and South Korea that make it an opportune time for them to be pushing for this.
So as we're looking at the North Koreans, then, in some ways, we're not seeing the nuclear program anymore as a bargaining chip. It appears that the North Koreans are very serious on the development of this program. And that would mean that there's a very limited moment now between where they're at right now, which is incomplete, and potentially complete, which may change the calculus of how countries could deal with North Korea.
Yes, that's very correct. And I think one of the important things to keep in mind as well at this point is while we studied the military option to go in there and take out the nuclear program or potentially deal a much more significant blow to North Korean military capabilities, that's not the only option on the table. We are studying this particular option to see, how feasible is it, what are the costs, so that we can understand what that part looks like. But separate from that, there still is the negotiated solution that's on the table, or the potential for North Korea to simply have a nuclear weapon.
Right. So similar as we did a study in the past on Iran, for example, and looked at what would it take militarily to be able to delay or destroy the Iranian nuclear program. Ultimately, that wasn't the decision that was taken by the United States. The decision taken was a negotiated delay in the Iranian program. It doesn't mean that there aren't potential future military options still on the table, but right now, that's the path that's taken.
Correct. One of the big influencers going into that decision of, whether you may want to conduct that military strike or whether you want to negotiate the North Koreans out of their nuclear program is going to be how comfortable the United States is with that option. There's a massive gap in intelligence when it comes to defining, what exactly is part of the North Korean nuclear program, which facilities exist that we might not know about, or which facilities exist that might not be that easy to get to in terms of underground facilities. And then separately, there's a cost that will come with this. There will likely be a North Korean retaliation. One could hope that there would not be one, but that's kind of a big gamble to take. So when we're thinking about that, then you need a very clear intelligence picture of the North Korean conventional capabilities. And even then, even if you have that full picture, you're going to take damage, and most particularly within the region in South Korea, Japan.
So when we look at this, I guess, are there some similarities or differences between the studies we've done on the Iran options and on the North Korean options, particularly in terms of the potential counters?
I think one of the main differences there, particularly on the counters, would be that in Iran, one of the most notable counteractions that we were perceiving would be its potential to disrupt global oil trade. Its location near the Strait of Hormuz, it's the very narrow strait that it could easily disrupt. That's a case that's not really present in North Korea. In North Korea, we're talking much more about physical damage done to South Korea, Japan, and how that basically shapes that regional relationship. The U.S., if they conduct an operation like this, they're going to have to deal with aftermath from South Korea and Japan, or they'll have to have significant buy-in from those countries before they do that.
Well, and beyond that, we have to look at the other countries in the region, China, and what role they may be interested in playing, Russia, and how they may perceive U.S. action and things of that sort. Without giving away the entire study, what do you think is one of the key final takeaways?
I think one of the key takeaways is the significant damage that could be done to the northern areas of South Korea through North Korean artillery fire. When we look at the numbers, there's been several studies in the past by other groups that have tried to build these assessments of what exactly can North Korea do when a war starts, whether that is for a strike on a nuclear program or for any other reason. But I think we've been able to really build a nice picture that shows just how vulnerable South Korea would be if North Korea chooses to go all out with their retaliation. And that's going to be a very difficult barrier for the United States to cross if they ever do want to move to the point of a military action against North Korea.
All right. Thank you, Sim. For more information on this, please look at stratfor.com and look for our upcoming report.